everybody, and welcome back to the Alright Podcast. Man, it's not the best podcast, but it's not the worst podcast. It's just an Alright podcast. Guys, welcome back to episode 38, actually, of the Alright Podcast. We're almost on 40 episodes already, and today is joining me with Sean Brien. Is that right? Is that the second name? Brien.
Yep,
Sean Brien.
Sean Brien.
First names, for one for the second name, so perfect. So Sean, I just want you to introduce yourself. Please tell the audience a bit about yourself, if you don't mind.
Okay, perfect. So my name's Sean Brien. You pronounced it right. It's often mistaken for Sean Brien, and Sean Brien I've been called as well in school. But so anyway, I'm from Swords, and so I'm a horror fanatic. And as we mentioned already, I'm related to Stephen Gaffney and Eric Gaffney and Amanda Brien. So basically, I nearly have a full family of filmmakers.
Jesus.
And and it was actually like, I suppose me personally, I've always been creative. It's but it's only really after a set of Red Room that I kind of reignited my kind of interest in filmmaking. My dad, Eric Gaffney, is a cinematographer, and he was a cinematographer and editor on Red Room, as well as my mother's short film Dilapidation. So give it a stick over it, but you know.
Yeah, so like literally everybody around you, you are literally, I would say, probably inspired from everybody around you, probably even growing up, to do anything with film or camera, like.
Well, yeah, I suppose, yeah, at least, at least partially, like, I mean, like, because, like even my younger sisters, like, my little sister Lee is into, like, makeup effects and all, like, so I got her to do, like, some stuff for, like, Scarlett and all, and she's, like, and she's very good for her age, like, and, as everyone says, she'll only get better.
Yeah, and that's what you need to do. Like, for the likes of myself, I started out and I only had a little group of friends, and we made a series, like a 6-part series. And it was the first time introducing that. But likes of Stephen, he would know a guy that I'm friends with called Marcus Rochford. Do you know Marcus Rochford?
I can't say I do now.
No, he's the one that got me into film. So he's the guy that actually got me to start doing my own kind of stuff as well. Anything got to do with videos or so. But you did mention that you made a film called Scarlett. And I did want to talk about that because I watched the trailer and I was like, holy shit, this is actually good. Like, this is all right. Like, if I'd be totally honest with you, if I didn't like it, I wouldn't bring it up and I wouldn't encourage you saying that. But so it did. The trailer looked really good. And I don't know Nina, but I know of her. And what's his name? Stephen James. Is it James? James is his name?
James
Stephen Walsh. Yeah. I know of him. Me and him are texting every now and again because I'm making a film. I was supposed to do auditions on the 11th of April for a thing called The Hitmen. I was going to do my own film, a comedy based, like inspired by Pulp Fiction and stuff like that as well. And that had to get cancelled because of what's happening right now. But he was supposed to audition for one of the roles, and Nina was actually supposed to audition for a character that is actually fits up perfect for the role as well. But working with them, with people like that, would this be your first film? Your actual first film doing it?
No, it was my first time working with Nina, definitely. I've directed another film before called Tack Bear.
Tack Bear, is it?
Tack Bear.
Oh, yeah,
it's an Arabic word.
Yeah.
But James, I worked with on The Things We Should Talk About. It's a short film directed by Peter D. Keaton, who was also a cinematographer on Tack Bear and Scarlett. And I think it's fully made. I think it's just kind of, because of the current crisis, it's just been put on hold for festivals and all. Like, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Then Greg Young, I worked with from Tack Bear and also on Scarlett. He was co-producer on both, and he also acted in Scarlett.
Greg Young, I know Greg Young now. I only start getting to know him this year, and he's a nice guy. Like, he's a nice fella. He was doing a lot of live sessions. He was singing, and I was doing the stand-up comedy for it, and we kind of got to talk better. During doing all that before any of this happened, but he knows his stuff, like he knows, and he always comes prepared as well. He always comes prepared, and I think he's the one that recommended yourself. I think was it Greg?
Definitely, I think when he was on, the Alright podcast the first time, he sent a link in our group chat and all, like, he said give around the shout outs and all, like, I was like, and then he
did mention Scarlett. He did mention it, and like, to do a film like that, was it just yourself that wrote it? Did you write it yourself?
Oh, well, see, Scarlett's a bit of a funny story, right? So basically, I wrote Scarlett, and basically, I swear it changed about 5 times throughout the entire production because, for starters, I wasn't, the story changed drastically throughout different drafts anyway. But then when we were on set filming, we were filming in the Ansley house in Fairview, and basically we blew a fuse, and like all the tungsten lights went out.
Oh shit!
And like I was actually like, yeah, I was like, oh shit, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I was like, okay, everyone just take an hour break while I figure this out.
Yeah.
You know, so anyway, basically I kind of worked something out with Peter and Greg, and Peter's brilliant in a crisis. And as me and Greg have often said since, like, you know, he's he's a great improviser for, like, you know, technically.
Yeah.
Like,
you want someone like that, especially on
just really has his head screwed on, like, you know. But so basically we had to completely derail from the script then and kind of simplify things, and you know, and then in editing, then I had to kind of make it work out a completely different way again. You know, so I don't know. I suppose.
and like, honestly, God honest truth, are you happy with your finished product? Are you happy?
Oh yeah,
you're happy.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, honestly, yeah. Like it's it took a long time to get happy with it, but like you know, it's I think we really kind of pulled through. I'm very proud of it, and I hope everyone involved with it is proud too.
Well, that's good. Like to see the likes of them. When I was making the film, The Lotto Ticket, me and James, we done it, and it looked absolutely shite. Like, it was so bad. And then we got Craig on board, who's a cinematographer, so he was kind of doing that way. And we changed the script. We got told to change the script. Like, my girlfriend, we got a few people in the room. We read out the script in the room, and people were like, well, change this, change that. But I changed it to a certain I changed it to a little bit. I changed it a little bit, and it turned out actually all right. And we were able to get like a charity shop. We were able to get we up at like 6 in the morning, 7 in the morning to get that shot on the beach of like him walking on the beach, just all them shots. But originally that open shot, because you text me saying or watched the Lotto Ticket and so as well. So you said you liked it and so like that. But for the likes, sorry if you hear a dog barking, it's my dog outside. But that shot on the beach was never supposed to be in that script or that film. It was supposed to be him at a train station, and then we done the train station, and we were like, holy shit, this is crap. So for you, for that to happen, for the power to go out and go like that, me just personally, I believe that things happen for a reason. If you are so passionate about stuff and you want it to go so well, you will do anything for it to go well. You'll do anything.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
And is Scarlett, sorry, I don't know much about it, but is Scarlett out and everything, or is it coming out?
It's coming out.
It's coming out
sometime after the pandemic.
Yeah. You're going to enter them at the film festivals for us, is it?
Absolutely, yeah. I'm hoping. I haven't got specific festivals in mind just yet, but I'm hoping to like a few in Ireland and a few outside of Ireland as well.
And how would you go about doing that? Because for someone like me, I wouldn't know anything about that. How to go get these film festivals and enter them. So would you have a bit of experience with that?
I have a bit of experience with it. I did I did a kind of like short festival run with Tack Beer, and my family I've done festivals on. Stephen has done festival runs and all. I think Scarlett definitely be the kind of biggest festival run I'm hoping to go for. Like, you know, and I'm definitely hoping to kind of get into places like. But I think there are some useful sites for it. Film Freeway. It's one in particular. I have an account on it. Well, I particularly like using.
Yeah. For the likes of that. So remember we were saying earlier, for you have all these people that are around you and are influencing you as well, and it was kind of like, because if the area I grew up, my neighborhood, the kids would run around and rob cars and stuff and all, and to get me likes of that, and so they're influenced by other people around them to do them kind of things if you grow up in a certain area and stuff like that as well. But for the likes of you and your not little, but like likes of you and your like surroundings. You surrounded yourself with all these people. Like, I'm not saying you did. It's just saying that it happened. It happened that you were surrounded by all these people that are either filmmakers, they do something in film, they're photographers and stuff like that. So, for the likes of that, was it always, when you started off writing scripts and all, was it easy for you to do all that, or was it a bit difficult to learn, like the script writing and so?
Yeah, well, I suppose like you know, like when I say my whole family are into it, I mean, like, yeah, it's not necessary to say that I was literally born into it, you know, family of filmmakers, but I suppose we were always film fanatics. Like, my family were always creative, like, you know, and I suppose like when I was a young teenager, like when I was a young kind of in my mid-teens even, like I kind of I wasn't entirely sure what I wanted to do, and I didn't want to kind of, I suppose I didn't want to jump into film just because, you know, they were doing it. Like, I mean, I wanted to make sure that whatever path I took was my own, like, you know, I mean, in some way or another. But like I said, Red Room was kind of it's kind of started my kind of interest more. Like, you know, I mean, I was around that time, like shortly after Red Room, I kind of started writing more scripts and more kind of short stories and all, like, and then I suppose to more relate to your question, my family are always very supportive, and I suppose I've learned a lot from. I've gained a lot of experience from that boy, shooting Red Room and that boy, and also from doing like wedding videos and all that kind of thing with my dad, who's because he's also a freelance videographer. But it's not to say that the process is easy. I mean, like, you know, I think filmmaking, it's a tough thing for anyone. You know what I mean? Like, it took me a long time to get my first short film off the ground at all. You know, and I even had some, like, one or two failed projects as well. Like, but eventually I got something made. I was like,
and when you eventually done Scarlet and the whole thing was put together and it was finished, was there this sense of like achievement, like going, right, this is it now, this is probably the best film I've made so far? Like, what was the experience when it was literally finished and edited and you were able to watch it start to finish? What was the experience for yourself?
It was actually only recently during the quarantine I kind of I showed the cast and crew the final cut, like latest cut, and they're all delighted. And I think I suppose that's, for me in any way, that was kind of the moment where I kind of went, you know, thank God, you know, just after, you know, especially after everything's been through, like, you know, it's worked, you know what I mean? You know, it's a rewarding process. And I imagine, I mean, I know, like with Attack Bear as well, I got screened in the Big Little Film Night, and like, I mean, that was also like a surreal feeling, like, you know what I mean? And, you know, like, it's just so I suppose really it's a very rewarding process. Like, you know, it's worth the hassle.
For the likes of yourself, who would kind of be your inspiration when it comes to like filmmakers? Like, what films would you watch and go, okay? Because I know that everybody, like, would say with stand-up comedians, they take something little from each comedian they watch that's their favorite and they put it into their own, and then they become their own comedian. Or for the likes of filmmakers, they take it. For the likes of example, my favorite script writer would be Quentin Tarantino. And the reason is just the way he writes his stories. I love storytelling and stuff like that as well. So I get like Quentin Tarantino and Martin Scorsese and stuff like that, and I'll try to get my little bits in to do that. But for likes of yourself, who would you kind of watch and like kind of take little bits from if you would?
Well, I mean, Tarantino, like I like Tarantino, but like I can't, you know, I don't think I really, in terms of my own films, I don't want to really apply him to my own films as such, like, but I suppose so I would apply my own films to Attack Bear definitely had kind of Dunkirk influences, so like Christopher Nolan. Scarlet's taken kind of more influences from a Turkish horror film that nobody in the world but me has seen, called Baskin. And then also a little bit from Incident on the Ghostland from Pascal Laugier, and all, like, but sometimes I find that I can even kind of get inspired by like films and all, like, that I'm not even a huge particular fan of. Like, if I just appreciate certain aspects, like, I mean, in Scarlet I took like some kind of subtle inspiration from the original Suspiria, you know, and which I didn't hate it, but I'm not crazy about it, but like, you know, I love the kind of red and blue lighting in it, so I used a lot of that, like, in Scarlet, like.
And for the likes of the camera equipment inside that as well, would you have to rent your own camera equipment, or do you have all your equipment yourself?
I have a lot of my own equipment, and then as well as that, Peter is also like a passionate cinematographer, so he's also had a lot of his own equipment for Scarlet, like, you know, and then obviously, you know, of course, my father and like with people who I know like have equipment like so a bit of borrowing, like it just kind of comes together, you know.
It's so handy, isn't it? It's so handy when you have that around you, and you can just go, right, I'm gonna go. We're all creative. I'm creative. I'm a creative person. I'm gonna go out. I'm gonna make films and stuff like that as well. And I do enjoy when someone like yourself is passionate about what they want to do and they go off and do it. I hate people that go, oh, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, and they're not. Like, it's not that there's something going in the way of them, it's just because they're lazy, they don't do it. And for the likes of yourself, you said, right, I'm going to make this film, Scarlett. You wrote a script, you wrote out the shot planning and stuff like that as well, I'd say. And I'd say that you got all this together. You went out, even though when you were tackling all this and then things weren't working out well for you, you still said, fuck this, I'm going to go and I'm going to continue and keep doing this film. And you've done this film, and you said recently that you're going to go into, during all this quarantine, that you showed everybody and you've seen the end result. And for the likes of that, I have to applaud you for that, because fair play to you, because a lot of people do not say something and then do it. There's a lot of people out there that don't do it. They say they're going to do stuff and they don't. And I love the type of people that are so creative and they say they're going to do something and they go out of the way and they do it. So fair fucking play to you for that.
Thanks, man. That means a lot.
No bother, man. No bother at all. And for people that don't know, me and Sean, actually, we don't know each other, you know. But I can get this sort of vibe and the sense of it, that you're a genuine guy. Like, you're, I'd say you're really down to earth and stuff like that as well. You're not fucking, like, you're not, how can I say it? You're not a gobshite. Put it that way. You're not a gobshite. Nice way to say it. You're not a gobshite. And I can see that you kind of, if you have something that you want to do, you go off and do it yourself. But for the likes of this, and it's kind of going away from what we're talking about now, but when likes to yourself, when you were growing up and stuff like that as well, you, as I said earlier, if there's anything you don't want to share, you don't have to. When you were growing up and you were surrounded by all these people, like the likes they're saying, the cinematographer and stuff like that as well, what kind of age did you start getting interested in all this?
Well, I suppose like throughout my childhood, I was kind of, as I said, like I was always creative. Like I was always into kind of like, you know, like I'd even draw, and I'm not good at drawing, like, you know, that kind of thing. Like, but like, I suppose in terms like for them, like I was always kind of on and off for a very long time with it, like, you know, throughout my childhood. And then at one point I was actually interested in video game development, and I was actually teaching myself video game coding and all. Like, it's, but like, yeah, it's like I'm not really a computer geek as such, like, you know, and I don't mean as a disrespect towards anybody who's into
computer,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, computer geek, you're all right. Come on,
you're all right. And I was waiting for you to say I'm a video game developer. I was like, no. But yeah, so I suppose I was 16 when I was on Red Room set. Like I was on a few other sets before that, but Red Room was probably one of the most fun sets, just because it was the most kind of elaborate. Like it's probably you know, it's kind of like we're shooting in a house in Appley in the countryside. Yeah, I mean, and the makeup effects artist Debbie McKibben was brilliant. Like, you know, and the actors were all brilliant in it. Like, you know, and I got on great with all of them. Like, you know, and so like you know, it's like I suppose it was a very kind of surreal experience for me. Like through that whole week, like, you know, it was just very. You know, so I suppose after that, like, I mean, it's not to say that I literally went home from Red Room saying I want to make films now, but it's kind of like I think that kind of had a knock-on effect for like about a year or two after that, like, and then that's kind of when I began to kind of.
And have you been going to college to do this, or what's happening? Yeah, you have. So what college have you been going to kind of learn all this? So.
I go to Clostadoulic. Like when I came out of school, I went to Marino originally to do journalism because I was still kind of on the fence about doing film. Like, but around that time, there was 2 short film projects that I took on. One was called Sacrifice, which completely fell through and never got made. And then the other then was Look at Me, which was which I was happy with it when I got it made. But like when I look at it now, I'm like,
yeah.
But yeah, and you know, then Takaway was an improvement, and then hopefully Scarlett will be the best out of a lot of them. But yeah, so I did a year in Marino and did journalism, and then by the end of it, I was definitely you know, had my heart set in filmmaking. So now I got a Clostadoulic, and that's where I've met Peter D. Keaton, who we mentioned already as cinematographer.
Sorry, one, yep.
Sorry, you got?
Yeah, so for the likes of you in college right now, is it how many years are you in college? Are you in 1 year now, or is it into your second year?
I'm coming to the end of my second year now, and then there's like a kind of there's a third year that only a handful of people get into that offers a degree. So have my fingers crossed.
Hoping, yeah. And for the likes of everything that's happening now, are you doing online classes and everything still, or how is it? How are you doing the second year now?
Yeah, it's mostly done through online classes and basically like editing or interview college films from home, and so that sort of thing. Like,
and is it difficult? Is it difficult to be doing the classes online, knowing that you're at home and you can just lie in bed and you can say, "I'm not getting up"?
Oh yeah,
yeah.
It's like I actually find editing the film. I actually find that easier to do at home. But like the written assignments, like it's very difficult to do in a home environment. I find.
Because I think as they say, like, Joan, if someone's in work, don't bring work home with you. So when you're in college, you're bringing college home with you, you're bringing work home with you, and that's supposed to be your environment to chill out and relax, and it's actually in the house. So that's why I was wondering as well for people that are still in college and doing stuff like that. Is it difficult being in your house while you have to bring your college work home with you and you have to do all that? But I know that a lot of people have assignments and that's what they do anyway, they bring it home. But for to actually do online classes in your own house, I imagined it's just horrible. I say it's horrible. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like to be fair, it could be worse, but like, it's kind of breaking up the isolation a bit and all that. Like, but it's just. I'd much rather just be in college. Yeah, I mean, it's much.
Yeah, you would. You'd rather go out. You'd rather go out. You'd rather be in a different environment. Being around all these people, knowing that, right, I'm going to be around these people for a while, but I can also go home and relax after a while. Because after a while, everybody's like, right, I love you all, but I'm sick of you. I have to go home and chill out. Like, get me, and then I'll see you on Monday or something. It's a nice kind of thing. But I think this is a good idea. All this kind of Zoom stuff. Even for assignments, class assignments, podcasts like this, entertaining and stuff like that as well. But for the likes of the quarantine itself, I know I'm asking everybody now because I know it's a subject everybody's probably sick of. But for the likes of you, how has it affected your life so far with all this quarantine going on?
It was actually pretty tough at the start because at least for the last year or so, like I've been constantly busy. Like, I mean, I've been constantly kind of like, and I've actually gone to a point now where I realized like I'm actually not used to being busy anymore. Like, I mean, it's just like, like, because, I was going, I'd be kind of flying in and out of town. I'd be going to college. I'd be going and helping them film. Like, I'd be a sound recordist on some people's shoots and all that kind of thing. Like, and I suppose it's like little kind of routines like that you kind of take for granted, like, but I've been keeping myself sane with like writing, with script writing and with working in college and all that sort of thing,
So the likes of that's a good thing about it as well. There's a lot more time to do the likes of, I would do YouTube videos now and I'd try to just keep doing them, try to whack them out every day, and it is hard inside that. But for the likes of script writing, I think for the likes of me and you, people that like to write scripts, this is probably the perfect time because you have an excuse of people like, what are you doing sitting in all day? You have an excuse to sit there and write a script. I wrote a script about the quarantine, but I was told by my friends, they said, don't release that, don't make it, because I could make the whole thing with just me and like whatever's around me, and they were like, don't release it, just people dying, it's just really a touchy subject right now, so I thought I wouldn't release it. And for like yourself, were you thinking of making a quarantine short film?
Well, no, I can't say I really was planning to make a quarantine short film because I suppose I suppose like when I'm writing the scripts, I would rather kind of escape from my kind of surroundings, rather than
like going to a different world, go and create your own world, and you're literally the god of that world, and whatever goes on, you're the creator of that world. That's what it's
like. It's just Seanland, everything works out.
A lot of people do that. A lot of people like to, if a lot of people for their own reasons, if they're not enjoying themselves or their life is just not going the way they are, and they like the way they like to escape is literally write a script and create their own world. To get me, they can do that because the likes of I'd say the likes of Avatar and stuff like that. Imagine like that guy probably wrote that script. He created a brand new, like a whole new world in itself. Do you get me?
Literally,
likes of that. For the likes of that. But I wanted to get people on the podcast that were interested. I didn't want people on the podcast that were just going to come on and say, I woke up this morning and I'm just doing this and doing that. Like, I want people on that actually do something. And for the likes of yourself, that's why I asked you to come on, because you're making short films, and you're doing what you said you're going to be doing. So I found that interesting as well. So there is, I wish this podcast was longer, but I have literally 2 or 3 podcasts I have to do after this, and then I have to go out as well. So I would like you back on at some stage.
Absolutely.
When all this is over and you are when the progress is more for your film, Scarlet Film. You did send me links to your all your videos and so, which I didn't watch, and I'm going to be honest with you. And the reason I didn't watch yet is not because I don't want it, it's just because I'm literally up to my eyeballs and doing loads of stuff.
I can understand that,
I'm literally going to be doing 2 more podcasts today, and then I'm going to be, I have nothing to do with this. Like, can't say it's a Sunday because every day is like a fucking Sunday. Like, so I will eventually get to them, and I will text you back or anything anyway and let you know I text them. But we're going to go into a segment now, and I don't know, I asked you this before the podcast, but do you have any ghost stories, or do you believe in paranormal activities? Ooh, scary.
I keep an open mind about paranormal activities. Like, you know, it's just like, I suppose, like, it's a very difficult thing to kind of answer, because the truth is nobody really knows for certain. But at the same time, I don't think it's as far-fetched of a theory as skeptics say that is. Like, I mean, because I think at the end of the day, science tells you that, you know, you're full of energy. You know what I mean? And some theories say that everything's actually energy. So I mean, like, if energy is never created or destroyed, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I believe, it's absolutely. I'm not gonna say there's definitely ghosts, but I believe it's absolutely possible that there's something
after.
there, like.
Yeah. So when you're going, you're still there, but kind of you're just energy, basically, maybe. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
I got a guy that came on yesterday. His name is Jonah, and I was asking him, does he have any ghost stories? And I'm just going to tell this real quick for because you don't know yourself, but for the people that do know. Anyway, he went to college in Maynooth, and Maynooth used to be run by priests as well. Like, there was like a priesthood in Maynooth or something like that as well, the old part of Maynooth. And there was a janitor there, and the janitor's an old guy, but Jonah used to go around doing the newspaper, interviewing people. And what Jonah done was he asked the janitor, did he see anything spooky or scary? And he said, yeah, when I was actually younger, I was doing this job, that I was actually in the old part where the priests were. And when he went into this hallway, and have you ever been to Maynooth College?
I don't think I have, actually, no.
But there's an old part, right? And it looks like, literally, do you know Hogwarts, when you walk in, they're all having that dinner? Like, it looks like that. It looks fucking old and creepy as football. Looks cool.
Yeah.
And he said there was this room. He said there was this room where there was only light down the back, and there was light up the front. There was no light in the middle. So he went in. He heard noise in the room, so he went into the room, and there was no one there. So he turned off the light at the back and walked and turned off the light at the front, and he heard someone behind him. And he turned around, and he said he saw a 6 foot tall guy. It was a figure, 6 foot, and mouth was opened, and all you hear him like, ah, and he's just screaming. And he said the janitor was saying to him that he goes, it felt like it was going on for ages, but it was literally about 20 seconds, 30 seconds. And what happened was that he decided to look up all about that priest stuff, and what he found out was that there was a priest there that was there about 100 years ago, that he was a 6 foot guy. He dressed in all his black, whatever, the same as the priest and stuff like that as well. He dressed in all black, and he was screaming. But the reason he was screaming, he died because his appendix burst. He died screaming. And that's what the janitor told him. And I found it. I'm like, hold on, maybe not, maybe. It's just a good story to tell. But the story itself, I find interesting for the likes of that. So for anybody that didn't watch the Aloha podcast and you're watching this, there you go. There's a ghost story for you anyway, for the likes of that. Yeah, it's a bit weird. Would you do any ghost films? Would you make any films that are for ghosts and so?
Well, yeah, I don't have any plans, but I mean, like, down the line I could do,
because the likes of Scarlet's like a thriller horror, is it? It's like
involves a vampire.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So it has some supernatural elements.
Yeah, so there you go. Right, guys. So I am going to sign off. Is there anything you'd like to promote, Sean?
before
we sign off?
Well, none that I haven't mentioned already, I don't think. I suppose, obviously, Scarlett and also my Maz, Amanda Brien's short film Dilapidation, which is looking pretty good. And yeah, just thanks a million.
Yeah, no bother, man. Yeah, I will ask you to come back to the podcast eventually. Hopefully, we can talk more about more stuff. The next time we come on, I'll have everything prepared. I'll have sticky notes on the fucking computer and everything and all. Sorry that wasn't really kind of organized.
That's fine.
It was kind of a chilled kind of podcast as well. Kind of go with the flow. But I did enjoy myself anyway. And thanks very much for coming on.
No problem, man.
If you want to send me any links. Well, I have all your links. You sent me them, so I'm going to put them all down in the description. So if anybody wants to go check them out, check them out like that as well. So guys, remember, this has been episode 38 of the Alright Podcast. Remember, it's not the best podcast, but it's not the worst podcast. It's just an Alright Podcast. Guys, thanks for watching. Peace.